Trading.com. This is what we do every morning, Monday through Friday, as long as the markets are open. We love to go over narratives, technicals, you name it, we got it going. All right, so fascinating reaction to some of these earnings, right? But I mean, the issue is that a lot of stuff was brought up into it, correct? So we basically have to. I'll be honest, I have been doing more low floats than I normally do. Like I'm in FWBI right now, HYLN, INMB, INPX, stuff like that. It just seems to me like it's kind of like the hamster effect, and it just makes sense to me, some of these things. I have hedges on, yada, yada, yada. I don't know. Look, Spartan shouts it out, short-term, intraday, I'm doing it, okay? But for the most part, but I'm pretty much not sure about some of these other things, some of the reactions, right? So we shall see. And also, API build was, well, nobody does it. It's a walk on the wild side. You never know what it's going to be. It is 90+% inability to figure out what's going to be posted. You just don't know. I mean, literally, you just don't know. Here they had 1.6 million, 3.3. It's never close to what the consensus is, never. So crude's hanging in there. I think we're going to get a pullback today on gold, FYI. I'm keeping an eye on that. What happened over Australia is such an important indicator for what's going on, right? In the Asia Pacific Rim in terms of trade, et cetera. A lot of it is a function of the natural resources, right? The inflation rate ticked up. So we're starting to see a little bit of a tick up on inflation data, just so you know. So we got to be aware of that, okay? Monthly CPI went from 7.5 to 8. Well, I don't know about you, but this cost of food stuff is ridiculous, okay? I've got a double on my electric bill. I got a double on my natty gas bill just because of taxes they implemented to the vendors, right? And now this is just crazy. So it's sticky, my friends. It is very sticky. So I found out what's going on with the eggs is because the avian flu destroyed a lot of the crop, the chickens, and it takes a while. It'll take like a year to rebuild that inventory, chicken inventory, egg laying inventory, right? Because of the avian flu that hit last summer, whatever, I don't know. CPI trimmed, index, leading index, the economic index. You know, I don't know what to tell you here. I mean, I just don't to tell you. Okay, so. So this shows you all about Singapore, Asia Pacific Rim, right? South Africa. All right, let's take a look at the UK. All right, wait a minute, am I doing this right? This is this morning. We're now on Wednesday, okay? Better PPI, worse year over year, but better, I don't know how that happens. Input month over month, look at that. 16.5 PPI year over year, better. So there's a lot of people saying that, good golly, Miss Molly, we did it, right? And that the Fed's going to have to stop the tightening soon. I don't know. IFO business climate better in Germany. Current conditions, worse, better. Bund auction, better, right? Lower, right? Consumer confidence in Brazil is a little better than Mexico. Is act worse. Okay, so Mexico was just 2022 was just on fire, the economy, right? So we got to keep an eye on that as well. All right, here we go. Mortgage back down to 6.20. Applications. Refinancing up. Purchase index up. All right, so we do have out of Canada, Canada, they have their interest rate decision this week. We have ours next week. Lovely. And then obviously EIA, yada, yada, yada. And then we've got 2-year and the 17-week bill auction and the 5-year note. This is the one that's going to be interesting, is this 5-year. Okay, so not a lot, right? Now, Tesla, Lam Research, ASML. ASML did great, but it was bought up, so it's profit taking coming in right now, right? Boeing. Okay, look, we got crazy ass candles going on right now. They missed top and bottom, right? But they reiterated their guidance. They say free cash flow is not positive. Anyways, let's get this up to date. All right, so Kimberly-Clark got lowered guidance, TEL lowered guidance, TXT raised guidance, AT&T lowered guidance, ASML raised guidance, and yet it's being sold off. And basically, Boeing missed top and bottom, but what are you going to do? I mean, literally, what are you going to do? Microsoft, I had twins in my head saying, wait for the conference call, wait for the conference call. So, all right, fine. So I took some profits on some of my stuff yesterday on the equity side, so whatever. And I had my put butterfly for next week, so. What a world we live in. The blackout window ends on January 27th, according to the Goldman Sachs. Around $4 billion per day of fresh buying power returns, and the VWAP machines will be busy again. Just saying. So this should start underpinning the market, right? A little bit when you get the buybacks coming in. But let's do it. So that'll be fun. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. Here's your gamma for all your gamma peeps. Okay. What do we got? Reopening versus staying at home, right? Obviously, this is the spread, so reopening is gaining, right? Normalized. Implied Fed funds rate. So, I don't know. Is the work done? I don't know. I don't know. All right, so China's saying, all right, so this is the narrative for years to come. And I've been spouting this for a couple months now. I like to see that. And that's because I'm not isolationist in terms of my viewpoint. I'm actually geopolitical. I look at everything, and the US in the scheme of things is becoming less and less important. Not that it's not uber important, but it's becoming less uber important, okay? As you start to see this evolve, okay, now this is what overseas individuals are thinking about, okay? So this is how, don't forget, I trained overseas, right? The dollar might be the glue for now, but sometimes the glue stops being sticky, okay? This is what a reset is all about. This is also what I believe to be us against them mentality looks like. And I think that the way in which a government has been handling things, this is not just one administration, multiple administrations. Okay, the isolationist thought process, deglobalization, destabilization, stuff like that. Guess what? When the rest of the world says, yeah, okay, whatever, we're going to bring it on. It's going to be fascinating because we're going to see history being made, right? Saudi central bank is carrying out experiments with essential digital and cooperation. This is something to follow closely, considering Saudi Arabia is open to settling trade in currencies other than the dollar. OPEC, oil, say, okay. It's going to be fascinating. Okay, so cheddar. All right, so they're saying that the risk bill that the Fed may be forced to end quantitative before planned. I don't know. U.S. junk bonds ignore the recession angst. See, these are all the different things going on. Look, but in the United States, okay, the only thing that really matters, the last piece of the puzzle, which has not happened, is jobs, employment stats, right? I mean, historically, the average is 8 to 10% when you're in a recession. Well, we got a long way to go on that. Now, it will start to show up, but it's still really sticky. I mean, you know, everybody says, well, what the, how is this possible? I don't know, because there's just the tightness in the labor market. I mean, it's crazy. And a lot of that, I think, possibly has to do with, right, a lot of people with COVID retiring, but a lot of those people, I think, are going to have to come off of retirement. Look, if you're on a fixed income and you just basically had food, electricity, and heating go up dramatically, right? You got problems. You're going to have to look for some job work, right? And don't forget, I mean, if you're taking, you know, your Social Security, you can make up to $50,000 without penalty, right? Just saying. Debt cost, government debt interest is forecast to soar. This is in the UK to 120 billion pounds this year. I don't know what to tell you. Price pressures dropped sharply. Yeah. It's not going to stick. Germany, Scholz says we will continue so that NATO is not drawn into war with Russia. You know what? How do you stop this? Okay. You basically let Russia do whatever they want to do. Do you really think they're going to be done with the Ukraine when they just level it to the ground? I'm just asking. This is where it's flawed, and it shows how important Russia is to Germany, how much in bed they are. And that's sorry, so sad, too bad. Okay. The German decision to approve the delivery of Leopard tanks to Ukraine is extremely dangerous, takes the conflict to a new level. Whatever. You really think Russia are going to be able to just do this nonstop, willy-nilly? Send Ukraine tanks to donate its own, right? Stock indices diverged Tuesday post earnings reports. U.S. is poised to provide Abrams tanks to Ukraine. Do it. U.S. is suing to break. This is ridiculous. Okay. This is what overreach of government looks like. Okay. Whatever. Yeah, I just saw that. Yep. Thanks, Satrini. U.S. economy is slowing. Europe's. Look, I'm not a libertarian, but I don't like it, okay, and it doesn't matter what party is in control, when they basically go beyond their boundaries, okay? I have issue with that. U.S. economy is slowing, Europe's is picking up. It's going to be, I mean, I can't even tell you what kind of shit show it's going to be for 2024. And then we're going to start already with the ads and oh my God, help us. U.S. economy is slowing, Europe's is picking up. TMC is lowering sales, yada, yada, yada. We know that. What's going on here? U.S. green investment subsidies are upsetting allies. All right, great article out of Barron's. I encourage you to read it if you can find it. Money supply shrinks for the first time. What it says about inflation and the economy. Please, I encourage you to look at this article. Okay, it's a great read. All right, flows. J&J 11 million bucks, 11.1 million bucks came through. June 170s came in, 10,000 block. We had hedges coming in, AVGO, DIX, XBI, QQQ, XLF, W, and Netflix. Netflix had buys coming in. Okay. So Netflix is really holding up well. I have to admit this, right? I didn't quite expect it to hold up this well, but it is. OIH, now they're buying it. Okay, so let's talk about, just for shits and giggles, what's going on. Okay. Everyone was aggressive in buying basically the OIH as a hedge against Schlumberger and Halliburton, right? Now, it did pull back from the top of the Bollinger, and it's basically holding the 10 EMA and the weekly. All right, so just be aware of that. But I think this is, where you buy, okay? So both Halliburton and Schlumberger came back to the 10 EMA and the weekly. So that's what I look at. Those are my A++ setups. So I'm just keeping an eye on this, right? Valet, regional, yada, 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 yada. Lows, okay? I think we're going to start shifting over to our friends again. I don't know when, but I think consumer staples. I think we're going to start looking at, healthcare, drugs, you name it. I think a lot of activity more on the 10% side, CCO, 10% owner, APPN, 10% owner, and you can see what they're doing. They are buying these, right? Let's take a peek on the sell side. So only 2 was tied to options. BOWL has been getting selling, right? So anyways, let's take a look at upgrades. Okay, so Philip Morris, I am in this one. I've been in this one for a while, but I just added it to it. Bonnie at Goldman, 18%. This is also a divvy play, right? But she's almost a 70% studette, so neutral to buy, so we got to pay attention to that, right? NWSA and SBAC. Okay, now let's take a look at the downgrades, what these guys are up to. Have we got any professionals here? There we go. HMN Horseman, Educators, 84%, Piper Sandler, Trustco Bank, DH. Look, I love this company, but anyways, 1%. It's at 97. I might buy some down here, sub 100, I don't know. Booking, but a 12% price upgrade. Illumina, whatever. Who's got something going on? Cake, UBS. Everybody's piling on cheesecake. There's a lot of put buying on the retail side. LICY also. Okay. All right. What do we got? Devon. All right, so Wells Fargo, Zachary, 85% stud says, yeah, Domino's, Pizza, yum, Starbucks, McDonald's. So all of these, was that today? No, there's nothing today. Yeah, this was just, oh, here we go. Okay, I said, what the hell? All right, so here's Devon, Wells Fargo, Roger Reed, 79%, and this is all him, right? So Devon, ROC, MRO, CTRA, APA. So all of these in the oil sector, right? Chesapeake, EQT, EOG, PXD, Bloomin. That's interesting. Justin Post, 72%. Right. And then Toast. And then we kind of drop off. Mobileye got it as well, got, price. Downgrade. Woo. Ouch. Well, I do have some puts on, so that should help. Anyways, what do we got? I think today's going to be like yesterday. I think it's going to be all over the place. I think it's going to be very choppy. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think, I think that, we'll see what Spartan wants to do, whether he's going after the low floats again, probably. But we'll see if we get any runners on the, like I say, I mean, we'll see what, what happens here, but I mean. I don't know. Sentiment, a growth-oriented cyclical industry recovers from a multi-year. Yeah, but this goes back to 1963, so it is important. But if you notice, the dot-com bubble wasn't a good look, okay? And if you notice, the financial crisis of 2008 wasn't a good look, but I don't know what to tell you. 12 months out, maximum loss versus maximum gain. Okay, so some of these can be hefty. And as you can see here, yeah, I'm not, can't touch that. This goes back to 1992 saying, well, 6 months out, positive, 1 month out, negative. I don't know. I don't know if we've seen the rally already, and I don't know what to tell you. I just don't know. All right, relative net percentage change. So it doesn't be after greater than 20% drawdowns. Now, this is actually fairly interesting. Okay, so industry groups. I don't know. Like I say, breadth, all reset, nothing there really. Still overseas seeing some rosiness, right? Large trader put buying. So let's take a peek at this. All right, so this is what's really fascinating. Okay, we're still really on this extension really high. Now we're coming back down, but this shows you what they had on the put side. Okay, so that's pretty notable. All right, so let's go just to 1 year. All right, you can see here the low. All right, and that was the March low. Then they started buying puts, so they really haven't really sold that much of it. Here's a little call buying. We always seeing a bounce, but look at it. It's how it's in this quadrant, whereas the puts are on outside the quadrant. I don't know how it plays out. I just don't. But shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Let's do this. Reset bonds, LQD, LIT. So lithium is interesting, right? FXI. So UNG is a 4. Looks like it's going to a 1. Maybe 0. I don't know. All right, so this is small trader put buying. See how it's still, look how sticky it is on the upside. And here's call buying. So clearly the hedging is just still going on there. All right, let's take a look at the COT. I don't like this. They changed it. Oh, here we go. Okay. So this is the S&P 500. So you can see here they increased their shorts, leverage funds, and asset manager basically net increased their shorts. Other reportables decreased their short. So they decreased their short here and increased their asset managers. So this is what it looks like. Asset managers, it's almost 70% long. Leverage money, you got it. They love it. Other reportables, now this was a lot higher and it's come in 50-50 almost. Non-reportables, usually and measies 50-50. But this leverage money is all, well, for the most part, it's always going to be short in a bear market, right? So now let's take a look at something more interesting. Let's take a look at the 10-year. Okay. All right, so let's see what's going on here. Now, this is really interesting. Look at this. Look at this. The leverage funds increased their position by 10% short bonds. Okay. Whereas asset managers increase their position by 5% long. This is fascinating. I just think, so asset manager 71%, leverage manager money 80%, other reportables are short 66%, uses and measies 50-50. I just think that's cool. And just for shits and giggles, let's take a look at our natty gas, see what these guys are doing. Now, according to this, the managed money basically increase short, increase longs, decrease shorts, but they're always going to be short, right? So it's other reportables, decrease their longs. So managed money is 61% short, 38%. Others is 80% short. Uses and measies we're only 35% short. Gonna be a wild one. All right, let's take a look at our bonds, yield, basically inverting. So anyways, Canada, down, overseas, down, except for Japan. Here we go, 2.5, still being flagging, but hasn't broken it yet. That's really interesting, right? 10.2, you know the drill, no change there. Here's the 5.30, you know the drill here, kind of stuck in the quadrant, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that break out. Here's the 10-year. You got, you know, this, it's just so, just this, gotta get this. Anyways, got a hold here, not, we're bouncing a little bit today, so what was really fascinating, if you look at the volume, this is an hourly chart. It's pretty good on this candle, but also pretty good on that candle. So it's like, okay. China rates, well, they're on holiday, everybody, you know. So here's German, still range bound, right? So this, okay, so Germany, I would think, would be the first one, okay, to break on this double bottom. Okay, I don't know if we're going to break this triple top, to be honest with you. Here's the dollar, still just doing nothing. Chinese yuan, doing another one, they're on holiday. Cryptos, yeah, whatever. Commodities, okay, what do we got? We basically have probably 70% down and 30%, maybe 75%. So everything's kind of, so today feels like they're going to throw the baby out with the bathwater, okay, with a lot of stuff. They're going to just get out of Dodge, okay, which, whatever. This is why you cannot micromanage commodities, because if you do, you'll be in and out. You know, you can trade around your positions if you want to. So for me, that would be looking like, you know, adding some dust, stuff like that. Okay, that I do. But, you know, beyond that, natty gas. Here we go into the key pivot here. Let's see if it snaps. If it does, then we basically have room all the way down here to 240. Look, I'll be honest, I didn't expect this. Anybody who tells you they expected this, they're lying through their teeth. I don't get surprised a lot, but this definitely surprised me. The extension definitely surprised me. That all this means is the elasticity theory. Okay. The elasticity theory is, you know, like a rubber band, right? And the more you stretch it, okay, it will eventually snap. So this extension on the downside, the more it's stretched down, when we get a rally on this thing, stand back. That's all I have to say. I still have I have a Boyle KOLD spread on. That's it. And I'm sitting on my hands to see what I'm going to do. Crude, this is just, look, we're not going anywhere on oil refiners until this breaks out. Okay, we can't. That's just how it works. All right, so gold, crude, you can see here, this is really fascinating. This thing is really holding up well. So gold, and the reason why is obvious, that gold is holding up really well. This is fascinating. Okay, now, but granted, this is a monthly, right? I mean, we're going to get pullbacks. The narrative, okay, so it's supply and demand, right? We know that the supply there's a floor to it. Why? Because we know central banks, no matter what, in the background, continue to acquire the physical. Okay, we know that. China's light, we know that. Okay, if they are going to proceed, okay, with what they want to basically deleverage from the US dollar, they need more gold. Okay, they know that. They're not stupid. Okay, so India's been hand over fist. A lot of these, you'll see it going on in South America and Africa. All these central banks are going to be doing the same thing. Gold, basically making deals with other countries, right? Making deals with OPEC to have things built in their local currency versus, can you imagine if like some in Africa, if they're allowed to acquire, right, crude in their local currency, which is like 50% less than the US dollar. Just think about that. Okay, now obviously OPEC will make adjustments, but what a relief. All right, indices are down. VIX is up. Anybody up? Hang Seng China. But it's closed, right? Don't forget, this goes on for weeks, this stuff, right? The holiday, right? So the markets are closed for quite some time. Nifty 50 down, Bank Nifty down in India. That's about it. Okay, so let's look, Qs. Now, this is this funky thing, right? That basically, this is an algo system that basically was long from here, 2000, and it went long here in 2010, and it went short, okay, right here, okay, in May of 2022. Let's see what else is going to be here. Let's look at SPY. Now, you can see here with SPY, it's more hooky-jerky, okay? But they're short, okay? And it's not looking too good. The entries on these other ones. Let's take a look at IWM, just for shits and giggles, okay? So this is called the super trend strategies for those of you who are interested on, now, I wouldn't be interested in this because you can see here, but on the Qs I would be. I mean, there's certain things. So let's take a look at Netflix. Okay, so it sold here at 473, right? It doesn't have a buy yet. See, but on the other side of that, it did buy here at 14. So if basically you bought at 14, you made a lot of money on this, right? I'm just saying it's a fun tool. All right, DAX still fine. FAS still, well, ish. Okay. Needs to reclaim that 23.6% Fed. EFA, reversion to the mean, rebuff. Let's see if it can break through. This is small caps China. IWM's EFA. You know the drill here, right? No good comes from the, but this is how I got into the EFA overseas, right? Is because of that double top. This is how I used it, right? And I'm making good money on that EFA trade. I've already taken profits on some stuff. Right? IWM against China, yeah, it's got its clock clean too. But I don't want FXI, looking great. We'll see what happens when they open up again. KWeb, still looking great, right? Here's FXI, KWeb, okay. And then we've got this CQQQ, you know, the drill, still looking great, right? And of course, QQQ, CQQ. So obviously it got reclaimed this double bottom here. So this is the poo-pah right here on the monthly, right? And it bounced right off the 61.8%. So let's see what happens here. PXN still hanging in there, holding. So I've been scalping around up and down. I've been doing the VIXY. It's just easier for me. So I've been scalping that, took some profits on it, loaded up again. And now I'm up again on it, so okay. Bang. All right, we got to talk about this, right? It's probably going to break below this channel. This is why I look at monthlies, right? Now the key is going to be whether it smashes this. Keep an eye on this, please. This is important. SPY, QQQ. Okay. You know, when the market is selling off, the SPYs hold up better than the Qs. So it's the tech side, right? We have to see what's going to happen here, right? So just keep an eye on that. SMH. All right. It's broken below this this fib. Keep an eye on that. It can revert back to the mean down here, 224. I actually have on SMH some 200 puts for March. SOX, right into the 38.2% fib. Okay, you're aware of that. So obviously we're talking about the semis right now. SOX SMH is bear flagging, okay, and it looks like it's about to break the bear flag. Don't forget the SOX is US semis, and the SMH is heavily weighted to Taiwan semi. Okay, all right, Taiwan semi. Okay, look at that pop. Then now it's fallen below this double. This is just fascinating, right? This is what a false breakout looks like on the monthly. This candle. Let's see if it can start to reclaim. I don't know. NVIDIA Taiwan semi. All right. So this is really interesting. I'm going to clear this out here because, well, you know what? Let's just. There we go. All right. So you can see here, it's basically range bound. You can see here and here. But even with yesterday's move, it was equal, right? So it's not doing anything for the most part. AMD Taiwan semi, well, AMD continues to, but you can see here that spike, but it reclaimed here. This is 78.6%. So this is a big deal for AMD against Taiwan semi, right? So it's obvious, right? With this, you wanted to be long Taiwan semi and short AMD. And you made a good amount of money on that. So if you followed this is why I show you these things. So if you did this trade, you'd be up 42%. Okay. And this is why I say I look at monthly. I don't care about the minutia. Micron hasn't broken out on the monthly. We have this 62.34 is a 23.6% fib. And then you have this double top here that has to get through as well. And that's 64, whatever. Okay. Lots of resistance coming in on Micron. AMD Micron. Yeah, well, you know the deal here. Even AMD can't get its shit together against. So AMD has had a rough go of it, right? So let's see what happens. It is bear flagging, just so you know. You can see that, right? Here we go, NVIDIA Micron. So NVIDIA, right? But into this downtrend line. So this would be a bearish narrative, right? The only reason why this goes up is because of NVIDIA's rallying, right? As opposed. Intel hasn't broken out sideways consolidation for multiple months. See if it can. I mean, 3186 is the breakout point. AMD, Intel, sideways consolidation. So they both got taken to the woodshed equally. AMD, okay. I think I'm going to change this downtrend line to this right here. Okay, let's see. Right. See what happens here. The only problem with it is because of the time, it diminishes this downtrend line because that's breaking because of time, not price. NVIDIA, Intel, well, so, it's not your imagination. NVIDIA rallying, right, cleans everybody's clocks, right? Now, this is actually really interesting because NVIDIA and AMD basically has a double top right here, right? Right? Let's see what happens. So obviously, the way this breaks would be NVIDIA rallying against AVGO. This is one of my favorite fan faves. Obviously, this looks so much better than a lot of things, but you see, it's. I'm always long this one, and then I hedge with SOX if I need to. I'm in AVGO and I'm in NVIDIA. Okay, a little bit of AMD as well, but I have SOX as a hedge. SOXS. AVGO, AMD. Well, this is kind of interesting. So what this is telling me is that if these semis, well, what it's telling me as follows, okay, if the semis sell off, NVIDIA and AVGO will sell off faster and harder than AMD. That's what that's telling me. Right? AVGO, NVIDIA, so you can see here that AVGO also lost ground against NVIDIA, which is really unusual. I'm just shouting it out there. But you can see here, this is a 61.8% fib, and it's been holding, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Right? AVGO, Qualcomm, double top, but still holding this breakout pivot. Lamb Research, they report, right? This is not actually pretty, I don't know. All right, so let's take a look at this. Okay, so this is obvious, you can see the quadrant range it's been in since April. Okay. So let's see if it...
Ready, Beth, ready to pop on whatever here. All righty, guys, let me just load this screen share up. And we'll rip through these individual names here. All right, so if you guys are new to the chat, make sure to click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. You'll pop in a chat. It's going to look a little bit like this, something like this. First area to go to, guys, when you do pop in is go to this disclaimer section, give that a read, as well as go to that new to chat information section, scroll to the top and read from the top down. We'll go through this new to chat information once we do close down that YouTube stream. So, obviously, thanks for joining us this morning as well, guys. So pre-market tickers on watch. What do we got going on today? A couple different things. Tesla, Microsoft, ISRG, now EMPH, LRN. So Tesla gapping down slightly in sympathy with the market. Microsoft gapping down on earnings guidance. So I'm not sure if you guys watched the conference call yesterday or were listening to it, but obviously once they gave the guidance, you got that huge reversal there. ISRG gapping down on earnings report, Q4 EPS, 123 consensus, 125 revenue, 166 billion, consensus 167 billion, so miss there. Now gapping down in continuation, EMPH downgraded at Piper from neutral to buy, downgraded to neutral from buy. And then LRN, Strata achieves record enrollment growth for first quarter earnings there. So nice little move on that. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. Just going to load this other platform up real quick. Move this. There we go. There we go. All right. So first we're going to be looking at today, guys, going to be that Tesla, going to be that Microsoft. Let's have a look. So Tesla, Microsoft, and Tesla didn't really move too much. Considering the market's pulling back a little bit, 2-point move, nothing crazy. Still don't mind that daily chart. Get that level there, 50 MA. That's probably good. Let's take a look at this thing intraday here. This sprint candle there, which makes it a little bit more difficult to look at, but we'll be able to go on the daily chart. It should be a little bit easier. Okay. So slightly extended on the daily to the upside, actually. Pivot to the upside today is going to be this 149 levels. This level, in my opinion, this level is able to hold 145.44 to 153.15, where it has room to on the upside. Unable to hold, we're going to be looking for a pullback on this Tesla into the 136.66 or 132.49 on the downside. Overall on Tesla, I'm leaning bearish neutral at the gate, looking for that gap to be filled to around 138.70, and then we can see what's what there. I think then you'll probably get some, bullish consolidation, but that's going to be looking for there. Let's take a look at this Microsoft, guys. So obviously you got that reversal there yesterday. You're breaking back below EMA support on the daily chart. I'm going to get some more levels here. Back a little bit. There isn't really any. So you do start to have quite a bit of range. Let me get that level there. This one right there, and that should be it. Okay, so Microsoft, guys, pivot to the downside today. Going to be this 236.45 level, in my opinion. This level is able to hold 238.47 to 241.43 will be the next two resistance levels on the upside. Unable to hold 234.22 to 232.54 on the downside will be tested. Overall on Tesla or Microsoft, sorry, going to be leading bearish neutral. Looking for continuation lower today, if that pivot point is unable to hold. It's going to be coming into an uptrend level on the daily as well, which is technically kind of more of a bear flag uptrend. So we'll see what happens in that regard, but it did break that daily EMA support. So I am a little bit more on the bearish side of that at the moment, unless it reclaims it. Not that level's around 237.80. Just an FYI. All right, ISRG, and now let's take a look at that. All right, ISRG, guys, let's have a look. So stocks gapping down 233. Oops. So you broke the 50 EMA on the daily. You're back below all EMA support, of course. Let's see that pretty clearly. This thing always has quite a bit of range. Right. All right, guys, pivot to the downside today, 235.72. This level is able to hold. We got room back towards 242.19 to 248.58 on the upside. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback to 230.65 to the 226.18 level on the downside. Overall, on this ISRG, I'm going to be leaning bearish neutral, looking for continuation lower if that pivot point is unable to hold today, in my opinion. Looks heavy. I mean, the daily looks like it's got room to the downside because it does, and it's broken all the EMA support. So we'll see where this thing goes. All right, now let's take a look at this. Now, this was a really nice chart, this daily chart. Kind of gave it all back, right? Or the recent range move, recent range breakout, I should say. You're back below that level, those levels. That should be okay. Let's take a look at this thing today. Have to go up to the 437 level. I do, yeah. Which is that 4 EMA on the daily. Perfect. Get last day's high. All right, guys, pivot to the downside today, 437.57. This level is unable to hold. 431.05 to 432.62 will be tested. Able to hold 445.97 to 450.90 on the upside. Overall on now going to be leaning bearish neutral, looking for continuation lower today if that pivot point is unable to hold. Thus now that is ISRG. All right, let's take a look at the last two here on the individual names, guys. EMPH, LRN. I've been loving trading this EMPH the last couple days, last couple weeks, I should say, just because it has so much range in it every day. So I got a nice gap down on this one. Downgrade Piper. Okay. Pivot to the downside today, 215.53 levels able to hold 221.49 and 226.07. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 207.48 to 202.74 on the downside. Overall on the MPH, going to be leaning bearish, looking for continuation lower today if that pivot point is unable to hold. So that's the MPH, LRN. Let's take a look at this. All right, so LRN off the lows back towards that 50 EMA level. Oh, sorry, it's above it. 37. We're almost into this gap area. It's a good looking daily chart. Off the lows there. Okay, so pivot to the upside today, going to be 36.26. This level is able to hold. I got room to the 37.71 in my opinion to 38.70. Unable to hold 35.29, 34.68. Downside overall, I'm going to be leaning bullish, looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot point is able to stay intact and hold, which it does look like. I think it will be able to. All right, so that is the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. Going to go ahead and go through the spine and the fang real quick. All right. Let's take a look at the spine thing. So market obviously pulling back a little bit here. Still within the range. Pivot to the downside today, 398.05. This level is able to hold 401.52 to 405.17. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 394.14 to the 390.90 on the downside. Overall on the SPY, going to be leaning on the bearish neutral side right now, looking for continuation lower if that pivot point is unable to hold. Obviously, Microsoft's having an impact on the market as it should. So as long as Microsoft is going to be acting weak, I think the SPY will continue to sell off a little bit. Let's take a look at Apple. So Apple's daily looks okay. Still in this kind of consolidative mode. 142.46 pivot to the downside today. Levels able to be reclaimed 144.41. Unable to hold 140.29 will be tested on the downside. Overall on Apple, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today. I think we can actually kind of have a little bit of that divergence between the SPY and Apple, but it's not going to be a huge mover. I think it's just going to be kind of more of a grind back to the upside. So truly bullish neutral type of move. Amazon, let's take a look at this. These misprint candles suck. Go back to the daily. 93.18 is where we're at. So we broke EMA support. 93.65 pivot to the downside today. Levels unable to hold 91.32. Able to hold 95.49. Leaning bearish neutral at the moment if that pivot point is unable to hold. So if we're unable to hold, we do have room for continuation lower. Let's take a look at Netflix. Pivot to the upside today, 360.45 levels able to hold 365.70, unable to hold 352.49, downside leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation grind back to the upside here. Above this level, it's around 375.40, I think, is the next resistance. So we'll see if it can break out, but that's what I'll be leaning at the moment on that. Let's take a look at Meta. Meta pivot to the upside today, 142.44 levels able to hold 147.66 to 151.16, unable to hold 142.44, 137.69 will be tested on the downside. I'm leaning bullish neutral only if that pivot point can be reclaimed. That's Meta. Let's take a look at Google last but not least. And I'll do the VIX, the Qs, and the IWM on my own time, and then we'll go back over those when we do the quick little recap before the open, guys. Just an FYI. All right, Google. Oops. Right there, 96.95. That support, and that should be good. $96.93, sorry, pivot levels able to hold 99.18, unable to hold 95.40 to the 94.37. Going to be leading bearish neutral on Google. I think it needs to pull back a little bit more. This chart still looks good, but was a little extended to the upside. So a little bit of a pullback there, and then we can see what happens after that. All right, that is Google. So that's the spots. So those are the individual names that we're looking at, guys. I'm going to go ahead, pass it over to South Beach while I type up that pre-market action plan, and then we'll do a quick little recap before the open there. South Beach, if you're ready, it's all yours for now.
Okay, hey guys. All right, let's see what's going on here this morning. Let's look at just the backdrop first, okay, which I always like to do. 10 years at 345, down just a bit, 0.016, which is really nothing. In the 2 years unchanged. So the spread widens a little bit, right? We're at 55.72. So that's where we've been, okay? The high end of the inversion. Rates are down in London to 322. The 10-year in Germany is 211. Well, rates are down in Europe a fair amount, okay? France 256, et cetera, et cetera. So there you go. Okay, that's basically the backdrop for the bonds. Let's look at commodities quickly. Oil's dead flat. Natural gas, new low there, 308. I'm shocked. Every time I look at this thing, I say to myself, holy shit, how did this happen? It really is incredible. Amazing. Anyway, gold, silver. So gold is down, right? Because the dollar is going to be up. Why is the dollar? You see, this is how it works, guys. So if rates go down in a currency, whatever currency, let's say the euro rates are down in Germany and France and what have you, and our rates are up a little bit, it strengthens the dollar. You understand that, and that that's the way it works. So, and if the dollars, we've learned that gold and Bitcoin, for that matter, are only proxies for the dollar. That's what this whole pandemic has taught us. Now that may change at some time in the future, but to say gold is a hedge for inflation, in my opinion, is laughable. What gold is the proxy for the dollar. All right. That's what the market's been telling us. What you think and what I think is irrelevant, but that's what the market's been saying. And so, dollar up, gold there, simple as that. Agricultural commodities, pretty flattish, not a whole lot going on. Let's see, what's the biggest mover? I think it's wheat, 9.92%. Crypto exchange Luno access 35% of the staff. That just came across. Let's see, cotton, just for giggles. This thing would, these all these commodities are in a tight trading range. So the dollar's mixed against North America, up against the yen, up against the Chinese currency, up against the euro, and up against the pound. Not a lot, just a little, but up. Okay, crypto. Bitcoin's down 2%, Ethereum's down 4%, Solana's down 1.6%. Ergo, it's just a proxy for the dollar. Okay, and let's look at the foreign markets. Okay, so FTSE's down 31 points, 0.4%. DAX is down 0.5%. And over in Asia, we have the Nikkei up a little bit, 0.3. China's up 0.5%, and Hong Kong, which is the beast of all beasts, is now up 0.8%. They were down a shitload and they've gotten most of it back. All right, there's your backdrop. Okay. Banks and Fed. So one of the things interesting with first of all, they're in a quiet period. We know that, right? So next week they're going to raise rates by what? 0.25. Okay. But, that's no shock there. We'll see what he has to say. If the market doesn't get hit prior to, okay, he'll be very bearish. If the market does get hit, he'll be less bearish. I mean, it's pretty predictable what he's going to do. That's how he always does it, right? So we have the banks and Fed, that's that. China. You know, did you see Pompeo just on TV? It was very interesting. He was talking about how China was, you know, has a consulate in Houston, and they were stealing stuff for years and years and years, and we didn't give a damn, and now we do, and so on and so forth. And he basically, what he said, the thing that I took out of it is he was saying that U.S. companies need to get the hell out of China, because what happened with Russia has a good chance to happen with China, and our investment in China by U.S. corporation dwarfs any investment we had with Russia. So he says the companies are doing it as fast as they can, and it won't stop. So he says, you know, if we ever did get into a war, it would be Iran, Russia, China, you know, North Korea, et cetera, et cetera. And he was saying, his point was that Saudi Arabia would be with the U.S. for whatever that's worth. It was interesting listening to him, but you know, it's all speculation, of course. So that's China, Russia. So they're warning people that this is an escalation because the NATO forces, Germany gave the go-ahead to send these tanks to Ukraine. I think they're sending 14, and other countries are entitled to send their German-made tanks. And it appears as though Germany was pausing because they wanted the U.S. to have skin in the game. So they say that the U.S. is going to be sending Abrams tanks to Ukraine. So a escalation of the situation there. Russia is saying that you know, they're, you know, threatening like they always threaten, and we'll see what happens with that. Okay. So that was interesting. What else did we have? Oil, we discussed. Crypto, we discussed. Mr. Market yesterday. You know, shockingly enough, the market you know, was flat on the day. I had anticipated it would be a little softer than it was. It opened in the hole. But basically it closed pretty flat. You know, the Dow was up, but that masked what really happened. Okay, the SPYs were up a little bit. NASDAQ was up. Transports were down. Strong groups were home builders and machinery, and soft groups were solar, big oil and gas, and retail. Okay, so that's that. So if you talk about the bear argument, okay, and we'll talk more about it tomorrow, most of the bears are saying we're going to have a earnings recession. Okay, if you listen to Mike Wilson last night on CNBC after the close, he was talking about this earnings recession that we're going to have, and how, you know, going forward, you know, earnings are going to have to be sliced a little bit. Ergo, PE ratios would go down, of course, if you have less earnings growth, and the market would hit the skids. All right, that's his argument. That's been the bear argument. That's what they're all saying. That's what Druckenmiller is saying. That's what Cooperman is saying. That's what Wilson is saying. I mean, a whole, you know, bevy of really talented market people have been saying the same, you know, saying the same thing. And if I look today at the earnings, really, this is kind of sort of like the first day of a little bit. You look at the names that are up versus the names that are down, and the names that are down are just have a lot more heft to them. I mean, GD and Textron, US Bancorp has up, you know, Boeing, Microsoft, ASML, Abbott, you know, ISRIG, FFIV, COF, Boeing, down, Texas Instruments, et cetera, et cetera. You know, a lot, the more, the heavier market cap names are the ones that are taking it on the chin. So, you know, that argument has yet to know exactly. I mean, you know, we haven't fully, you know, got into earnings season, but I guess we're now in it, and it appears as though maybe these guys are right. We'll see. Okay. So what else is going on? I told you about the tanks. So the Microsoft numbers, the weakness was in this Azure cloud division, which you'll see a lot of sympathy in that. You know, cloud stocks getting hit. You see Amazon getting hit. You know, you see, look at CRM. You know, these cloud names are taking it on the chin based on that. So they're saying that growth decelerated during the quarter and warns of further slowing in their software sales. And you know, I told you that story about Teams, okay, that my wife's company had to pay $4 million and they said off limits. I think people are getting wise to Microsoft's little tricks. And if, you know, you can rest assured that they're not the only company that's examining their relationship with Microsoft and how it floats to the bottom line. So I think some of these companies are in for a little bit of a tougher situation. Let's put it that way. Okay, swimming against the tide. And I think, you know, that one little example, you know, that of that, you know, $4 million charge in Teams is just the tip of the iceberg. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, that's Microsoft. Traders in the interest rate options pit, according to Bloomberg, are increasing their bet that this may be the last increase out of the Fed. Now, I don't have a freaking clue, but I always follow the bond market, and the bond market is telling me that this scenario is real. Let's put it that way. Okay. U.S. Treasury Secretary Yellen is trying to figure out additional accounting maneuvers to so that the Fed doesn't, you know, they don't breach the federal debt limits. If you remember, Druckenmiller was on a tirade about how she's been spending money, Yellen, and she shouldn't, and it's not in her. Usually the U.S. Treasury Secretary doesn't do something like that, not usually, never. And he's really had it with her basically doing that, and that's what she's doing. So that's that. Jeremy Grantham, you guys know this guy. He runs a big fund. He's warning of a 17% plunge in the S&P and a possible 50% plunge. You know, let's do a little background on Jeremy Grantham. He's bearish today, tomorrow, yesterday, 5 years from now, and 5 years ago. Okay, the guy is a perma bear. I take what he says, I roll it in a little ball and wipe my tuchus with it. I don't give a damn what he says. Okay, the guy's always bearish. All right, so I like when guys can play both sides, you know, like Druckenmiller, like Cooperman, you know, not a guy who's always bearish. All right, no, I mean, I don't even know why they print what he says, and I don't know why he manages money if he's always bearish. Sweden and Turkey are trying to calm things down. So, you know, Sweden's trying to get into NATO. We'll see what happens with that. Those, you remember we were talking about those trades yesterday with New York Stock Exchange and whatnot? Well, they're canceling them. You see, the problem I have with it is if you had the trade and you're worried about the trade not being canceled, you took the other side to get out of the position, and now you wake up this morning and you have a position. So that's the problem with these kinds of issues. They don't happen very often. When they do, it's like, you know, trying to straddle a fence with barbed wire. It can nick you a little bit. So that's what's happening, and that's that. Murdoch pulled the plug on the Fox News merger. Binance had processed $350 million of Bitcoin for some small exchange based in Russia that has, they say, is an affront for illicit Russian funds. And that was my argument from the beginning. Bitcoin is just a way for people to avoid a trail. So we'll see. Bank of America set aside $1 billion for unrestricted stock for their talented people. And this, I don't know if you saw this, Lyle Brandt, the vice chairman of the Fed, who's kind of sort of pragmatic. You know, she's not really dovish or hawkish. It looks like she's going to go to the National Economic Council, and they're going to replace her at the Fed with someone else. I hope it's not Bullard. That's all I can say. And I told you about Mike Wilson, so that's that. Okay. As far as individual names, what do we have here? On the long side, stocks that beat their numbers, we have Telephone, General Dynamics, Textron, EHTH, LRN, RES, US Bancorp. Is that still up? Yep. Hess was decent. That's up a tinge. It'll probably fail. Market Access, MKTX was also decent. Okay. INPX, positive news there. Momentum Mover, GMBL, and ARDS. EHTH, I told you, pre-announced. GOEV has a partnership agreement DCPH had a positive phase 3. News Corp and Fox A, no merger there. And you saw the Shop news, guys? So they were anticipating that Shop would increase prices by 10 to 15%. And they increased prices 33%. So people like Shopify this morning, okay, based on that. And they also laid off a bunch of people, I think 6% of their workforce a week or two ago. So it looks like Shopify is getting their act together. Okay, so that's Shopify. On the short side, what do we have? Okay, so we have some really big companies kind of having a rough time. We have ISRG, we have FFIV, down 7 there. We have Microsoft, which we discussed. It's down, what, 8 now? Abbott Labs was crummy. So like the whole gamut of different areas. We got a software, we got a medical company, we got Microsoft, another software, we got Abbott, a drug company missing, Kimberly-Clark, a consumer non-durable, whiffing there down to Finsky. CNI, the rail company, okay, that's down $4. ASML, semiconductor name, getting tattooed this morning. How much are they down? 16. Well, 16 over 600 is not terrible, but unless you're in it. ADP missed. Texas Instruments, the number wasn't bad, but it's down a little bit in sympathy. NASDAQ was soft as well. HMN had negative news. VSCA had negative news, and PGEN, PACB, and KOPN doing offerings, as is Jasper. And QSG is a new issue. We haven't seen one of those in a while. And PLRX is doing a secondary. So there's a bunch of secondaries this morning. Okay, so that's that. All right, on to the next thing. This call in Enphase Energy at a Piper. Okay, basically Piper is saying that, let me just read it to you. The firm is saying that while it expected a deceleration in California residential growth in 23 due to higher financing costs adversely impacting regions with marginal economics, it did not anticipate this degree of demand weakness. Okay, so that's really the whole gamut, thing in a nutshell. We have who is this? Barclays downgrading all these guys who put in solar panels in homes. So SunPower, Run, what else? There was a bunch of them. Give me 1 second here. Here it is. ENPH. And that's it. But there's others. Oh, I'm looking at the Piper. I should be looking at the Lena. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's the whole thing. Okay. And Morgan Stanley's making a similar call in EV. Okay. Basically downgrading Lucid, QS, LICY. Based on this, lower pricing out of Tesla, who's the big dog, FSR. They don't like the group. They think pricing is going to get soft. Margins are going to go down, and he downgraded a bunch of stocks there, okay, which I said. All right, so those are the two main theses that I saw out of these guys this morning. This is Adam Jonas, who is got a pretty good following. I mean, I'm not a big fan, but he has a pretty big following. So he downgraded what? FREY, LICY, FSR, Rivian, you name it. Lucid, QS, target goes to $3, stocks what, $8? So you get the drift on that. Other themes, I like themes better than individual calls. I think that basically says it though. Cake was downgraded to sell by UBS. Zion was downgraded to sell at JP. Tesla reiterate to sell 120 target now out of JP. That's really it. Market looks awful. Never short a gap down, so I'll see what happens. I'll fold my hands and maybe we get a rally. If we don't, We'll see. Okay, I think people are worried about earnings, so they might want to lighten up. And that's it for me. I'll give it to Spartan, and let's have a good day, guys.
All right, thank you, South Beach guys. Morning, what's going on? So if you guys are new to chat and haven't already done so, make sure to click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. You're gonna pop in a chat. It's gonna look something a little bit like this. First area to go to, guys, when you do come in, disclaimer section, click on that, give it a read, as well as go to the new to chat information section. Scroll to the very, very top of the section. You'll see a link to the disclaimer as well as this bolded risk reward section. Important to go through both. Continue to scroll down. We have the summary of how this chat works, breaks down all these channels work on the left-hand side, options, ideas, channel equity ideas, SPX, all that good stuff. Continue to scroll down. We have the how to read alerts on the options and equity side, breaking down how to interpret what we're saying on both sides. Pretty straightforward there. Options rules that I like to use Monday to Thursday in regards to controlling risk, scaling in, scaling out, trading different price contracts. These are the rules I use for myself here. And the SPX rules that I like to use every single day. Continue to scroll down. I have any with a small account less than 10K, breaking down if you do have a smaller account less than 10K. Here's some rules and discipline that I used to apply when I was growing, do small account challenges and stuff like that. Maybe it can help you. So I thought I would post it there. How to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective. This is just breaks down how to overlay your own criteria on top of the ideas. And that's that. All right, pre-market tickers on watch. What do we got going on today, guys? Everything's posted. If you guys are watching the YouTube stream, you can simply just pause it and read the pre-market action plan here. There you go. You can see all the charts that are posted, of course. So a couple of things that we're looking at today, guys. Tesla, Microsoft, ISRG, now EMPH and LRN. So Tesla gapping down to slightly with the market, Microsoft gapping down on earnings guidance, ISRG gapping down on earnings report, Q4 EPS, so basically just gapping down on earnings, we'll call it. Now gapping down continuation, EMPH downgraded to Piper. I think it was 240 from 350 or something like that, but downgraded to neutral from Piper. LRN, Stride achieved a record enrollment growth over first quarter, gapping up on that. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. So first two we're looking at today, guys, going to be that Tesla, going to be that Microsoft. Let's have a look. So Tesla, guys, we're looking at it on the daily just because there's a misprint candle, but Tesla 141.49 pivots to the downside today. Levels unable to hold 136.66, 132.49, able to hold 145.44 to 153.14. Or sorry, 15 on the upside. Overall on Tesla, I'm getting bearish. I'm looking for a gap fill here to 138.70. And then once that gap is filled, I'm thinking that we might get a little bit of a bounce after that. So that's what I'll be looking at there. Microsoft, 236.45 pivot, unable to hold 234.22, 232.54, able to hold 238.47 to 241.43 on the upside. Overall, Microsoft leaning bearish, neutral, looking for continuation to the downside if that pivot point is unable to hold. ISRG, and now let's take a look at these two. ISRG, guys, pivot to the downside today. Whoa, let's go like this. 235.72, unable to hold 230.65, 226.18. And you can see all these other levels that I have on the downside here. Able to hold 242.19 to 248.58 on the upside. Overall, I'm leaning bearish, looking for continuation lower on the downside today, in my opinion. Now pivot 437.57, unable to hold 431.05, 423.62, able to hold 445.97 to 450.90 on the upside, in my opinion. Overall, I'm leaning bearish, neutral here as well, looking for continuation lower. EMPH, LRN, let's take a look. EMPH, guys, pivot to the downside today. 215.53, unable to hold 207.48, 202.74, able to hold 221.49 to 226.07. I'm leaning bearish here, looking for continuation lower. I do think we're probably going to retest that 50 MA, not 50 MA, $200 level pretty soon here. So we'll see what happens in that regard. LRN pivot 36.26 pivot level holds 37.71, 38.70, unable to hold 35.29 to 34. 68 are my levels in my opinion, and I'm leaning bullish, neutral on this one in my opinion as well, looking for continuation push higher. All right, let's take a look at the SPY and the FANG. I'm going to type this up on the SPY as I usually do as well. Throw that in the SPX section. All right, 398.05. Pivot to the downside today. This level is unable to hold. Room lower into the 394.14 support breaks. We see the 390.90 tested. Pivot holds, room higher into the 401.52 resistance breaks. We see the 405.17 tested. leaning bearish. Neutral on the market today. I'm thinking we're going to see some continuation lower, 394 level, and then we can see what's what there. It's been pretty interesting how we've been holding this range. But of course, you know, we'll see what happens. All right, let's take a look at the rest of the market here, the rest of the FANG. Apple pivot downside today. 147.46 levels unable to hold 140.29, 137.58, able to hold 144.41. I'm actually leaning bullish neutral on Apple. I think it's going to hold up. Amazon pivot upside or sorry, downside today is going to be the you have to look at the daily again. There we go. 93.65 levels unable to hold 91.32, able to hold 95.49, leaning bearish neutral there. Let's take a look at Netflix. Pivot upside today is going to be the 360.45 level. Love self was able to hold 365.70, unable to hold 352.46. Leaning bullish neutral on that. Let's take a look at Meta. Pivot to the downside today is going to be the 142.44, unable to hold 137.69, able to hold 147.99 to 151.16 on the upside. Leaning bearish neutral there. Let's take a look at Google. Pivot to the downside today is going to be the 96.93, unable to hold 95.40, 94.37, able to hold 99.18 on the upside. Leaning bearish neutral there as well. Let's take a look at the VIX, Qs, and IWM. All right, VIX guys, 2053 level holds 2089, 2179, unable to hold 1932 downside. Not leaning any particular direction, but using it for direction on the market as I usually do with the VIX. QQQs, 287.45, unable to hold 283.52 to 280, able to hold 294, 299.22 on the upside. Overall, going to be leaning bearish neutral there. And then last but not least, guys, SPX chart here. 4,033 pivot, unable to hold 39.66, 39.37, able to hold 40.30 on the upside, in my opinion, leaning bearish neutral on that as well. So that's SPY, that's a FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today, guys. If you want to pop in a chat, you can certainly do so. Go to SpartanTrading.com. You can sign up there. Any questions as well, you can reach out. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We do this YouTube stream every single Wednesday, and we'll talk to you.